It's funny how betrayal doesn't come with a warning. It just shows up in an Armani suit, drenched in rain, with eyes that scream regret. I was halfway through my third beer, zoning out to a rerun of some late-night comedy, when I heard the knock. 3 slow taps. Familiar. My stomach flipped because I knew that rhythm. It was him. When I opened the door, there he was, Ethan. His hair was a wet mess, tie hanging like a noose around his neck. The sharp lines of his face softened by exhaustion. His chest rose and fell as if he'd been running for miles. "Please," he said, voice cracking like glass. "Can I come in?" I froze, gripping the doorframe. This was the same man who, just 12 hours ago, had walked down an aisle in a perfectly choreographed wedding that social media was still swooning over. The man who looked at his bride like she was the key to his empire. The man I couldn't stop loving, even when I should have. "Ethan," I whispered, his name like a bruise on my lips. "What the hell are you doing here?" He stepped inside without waiting for an answer, his shoes leaving dark prints on my wooden floor. The scent of rain clung to him, sharp and cold. He dropped a black duffel bag with a thud that seemed to echo louder than it should. "I couldn't do it," he said, spinning toward me. His eyes were wild, haunted. "I thought I could. But I can't breathe in that house. With her. With all of them." I laughed. Because what else could I do? A short, bitter laugh that tasted like old wounds. "So, what now? You run away to me. Your little secret getaway. You just married her. Ethan. Signed the papers. Posted the perfect goddamn photos. Congratulations. By the way." "Don't," he said sharply, his jaw tightening. "Don't do that. Not tonight." And that was the thing about Ethan could shatter me with 2 words. I wanted to tell him to leave, to go back to his perfect life and his perfect lies. But instead, I found myself closing the door, shutting out the rain and the city and every reason why this was wrong. Because the truth was simple, no matter how hard I tried to hate him, my heart had always been his. He sank onto my couch like a man who had finally surrendered. His hands trembled as he tried to pull off his wet jacket. I stared at him, at the droplets sliding down his temple, at the faint scar near his jaw I used to trace with my lips in the dark. Memories hit me like a freight train midnight drives. Stolen kisses. The promises he made when the world wasn't watching. I swallowed hard. "Why, Ethan? Why the hell did you marry her?" His laugh was hollow, a sound that didn't belong in my small apartment. "Because my father said it was the only way. Because the company needed a merger. Because love doesn't pay the bills. Right? That's what they all said. Love doesn't pay the bills." I wanted to scream. Instead, I grabbed a towel and tossed it at him. "Dry off before you ruin my couch." For a moment, he just stared at the towel like it was some foreign object. Then, slowly, he started rubbing his hair, his movements clumsy, broken. And that's when it hit Meth Man, who always seemed untouchable, who owned every room he walked into, was unraveling in front of me. I hated him for it. I loved him for it. When he finally spoke again, his voice was barely a whisper. "I don't know where else to go, Alex. Everyone else wants something from me. Power, money, a name. But you're the only thing that ever felt real." My heart stuttered, because this was the cruelest thing he could have said. "Ethan," I said, my throat tight, "you don't get to show up here and say that after everything." His eyes met mine then, blue and stormy, and for a second the whole world felt like it tilted on its axis. He stood, slowly, closing the space between us. I should have moved. I should have pushed him away. But I didn't. You think I don't hate myself for this? His breath was warm against my face now, his voice rough. For hurting you. For choosing them over you. I do. Alex. Every damn day. I could feel the heat of his body. The way his chest brushed mine when he inhaled. My fingers curled into fists at my sides, fighting the gravity that had always pulled me to him. Then why? I asked, my voice breaking. Why wasn't I enough? His hand trembled as it reached up, fingertips grazing my jaw like he was afraid I'd disappear. You were always enough, he said softly. It was me who wasn't. And just like that, every wall I'd built started to crack. For a long moment, neither of us moved. The rain outside roared like an audience, waiting to see if this was the part where everything shattered or finally came together. Ethan, I whispered, my voice trembling like a live wire. You can't just say things like that and expect me to. Before I could finish, his lips were on mine. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate. Raw. Like he'd been holding his breath for years and finally broke the surface. Every piece of anger, love, and longing I'd buried came roaring back as I kissed him back. Hard enough to hurt. His hands gripped my face like I was something precious he'd been too reckless to hold before. When we finally broke apart, gasping, I felt the weight of everything crash down on us. This kiss wasn't magic. It didn't erase the wedding bands or the lies or the fact that we were standing in a minefield. This doesn't fix anything, I said, even though my voice sounded nothing like resolve. I don't want it to fix anything. He breathed, his forehead resting against mine. I just need you. Tonight. Just tonight. Alex. Let me have that. And God help me. I wanted it too. Wanted him in a way that made me hate myself. Because I knew come morning, reality would crawl back in. But I let him stay. Hours later, the storm had quieted. But inside, everything still raged. Ethan lay beside me, his arm draped over my waist like an anchor he refused to let go of. I watched the shadows play across his face and wondered if this was the last time. Tell me the truth, I said into the dark. Are you going back to her? He didn't answer right away. His breath was slow, steady, like he wanted to lie but couldn't. I don't know, he finally said. But I know I can't live like this anymore. It was the most honest thing he'd ever given me. And it broke me in ways nothing else could. 3 weeks later, the tabloids didn't stop. Neither did the whispers at his office or the endless photo ops of him and her looking like the perfect couple. And me. I went on pretending like my life hadn't turned into a silent scream. Until one evening, I came home to find a letter taped to my door. My name scrawled in handwriting I knew better than my own. I tore it open, my hands shaking. Alex, I told myself I'd wait until I was sure. But the truth is, I've never been surer of anything. I'm done living a life that isn't mine. I filed for annulment today. The press will eat me alive. My father might disown me. But none of it matters, not if it means I get to live honestly. To love honestly. If you can forgive me, meet me where it all started. Midnight. The bridge. My heart pounded so loud I thought the neighbors could hear it. I didn't even stop to grab a coat. The bridge was empty except for him, standing under the streetlight like some cinematic confession. No suit this time, just jeans, a sweater, and the kind of vulnerability that didn't belong to the Ethan the world knew. When he saw me, he smiled. Not the polished grin for cameras, but the real one. The one that had ruined me years ago. You're late, he said softly. You're insane. I shot back, breathless from running. Do you even know what you've just done? The fallout. I don't care. He stepped closer, every word shaking but fierce. I don't care about the company, the money, the headlines. I care about this. His hand pressed over his chest. About you. Tears burned my eyes, because I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But fear had its claws in me. What if you regret it? I whispered. What if tomorrow you wake up and, then tomorrow I'll fight again? He said. And there was steel in his voice now. Because for the first time in my life, Alex, I'm choosing what I want. Not what's expected. Not what's safe. You. And that broke me. Or maybe it fixed me. I don't know. All I know is that when he kissed me under that flickering light, with the city stretching behind us and the future uncertain as hell, it didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like coming home. Weeks later, the world still spun with its drama headlines screaming betrayal. Corporate vultures circling. Voices telling us we'd burn for this. Maybe they were right. But every morning, I woke up to him beside me, breathing softly against my shoulder. And for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid. Because real love isn't about playing it safe. It's about leaping off the edge together. Even if the world wants to watch you fall. And we leapt. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.